Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. What we're going to be talking about today is how to retain information when you're learning how to code, right? Should you be memorizing these kinds of things? This is a very important question to answer, especially when you're learning how to code, right? Because there's so much information being thrown at you and it can be overwhelming at times. So what's kind of the best strategy to, make sure you retain all the information that you're absorbing? That's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're new to the channel, my name is John Vine. What we do here is we talk about software engineering. If you want to become a full-time software developer or you want to switch career paths to become a full-time software developer, subscribe to the channel. And if you like the content, feel free to like as well. I think around 90% of you guys right now are not subscribed that watch this channel. So a subscribe and a like would be very helpful. So how do you actually, retain information when you're coding, right? A lot of people might be tempted to think that, okay, what I can do is when I'm learning how to code, I can just memorize all the syntax, right? But this really isn't the best way to go about things. What you want to do is actually, when you get introduced to a new kind of topic, right? Let's say a for loop, for example, you don't just want to memorize it and memorize the syntax and then just be like, okay, I know exactly how to do it, because that really doesn't give you any information, right? What's the point of understanding and just memorizing it, but without really knowing why you should use it, when you should use it, what it's actually doing? Just memorizing it and seeing it visually doesn't really give you information, right? And when I'm talking about syntax, I'm talking about like the rules of the language you're using, right? Like how to initiate a variable, the different types you can use. And so you really don't want to just memorize it blindly. This isn't going to be a good strategy, even though at the beginning, when you're learning something, this is very tempting, and it can actually be a good strategy early on into your learning. But what this kind of does is it builds bad habits, and then later on, what you're going to be doing is you're going to try to memorize different things as well, and then your learning is really going to be impeached by this. Some people even go as far as trying to memorize the syntax and really learn the entire syntax of a language before they even want to code, right? They think that you have to master a language and really understand it inside out before you write your first line of code, which is definitely not how you want to go about it, guys. I've been saying this often on my channel, and every single video, the best way to learn is to actually apply what you're learning and build side projects. So if you're taking the strategy of reading through all the syntax, understanding the languages before you even write your first line of code, I think, in my opinion, you're definitely wasting your time. I think to even start coding, you don't even have to know the syntax of a language, because guys, the beauty of things is that you can just look things up. There's a reason why people say that 90% of a software developer's job is just Googling things, right? These kind of stereotypes, there's some truth to them. A lot of things you're not necessarily going to memorize the syntax of them, so you're going to be searching stuff up. Myself, for example, there's a couple of different languages that I work with at work, and oftentimes I'm not going to be memorizing the syntax of exactly how to write different things. Rather, I'm using these topics often in my code, and as a result, I can actually know when I should use them and how I should use them. And so when I actually do have to use them, I'll be using them appropriately. And so me just having to Google the syntax and spending a couple of seconds, maybe a minute, looking up the syntax is fine, because I'm actually coding it properly. Whereas if you look at the reverse, right, you'll be able to memorize the syntax, you'll know exactly how to write a for loop, but you won't be understanding the appropriate situation to use it in, or when you actually want to use it, why you actually want to use it. So you guys can quickly understand why memorizing certain topics could be something tempting that you might want to do, but it's not really the best solution. And this really applies to anything, not just coding. If you are just memorizing things for the sake of memorizing them, like using flashcards or something, I think that actually understanding them will lead you to kind of naturally memorizing it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, guys, the important thing is not to memorize, but to actually understand the concepts that you're implementing. And the only way to do that, guys, is to start coding, is to code as soon as possible. Once you get introduced to a new topic, you want to start implementing it, maybe add it to a new project or start a new project where you're working on it. But if you are implementing consistently, you're constantly coding, you're constantly implementing these new things, every other day, if you're coding every day, you're going to be using for loops, you're going to be using variable declarations, you're going to be using arrays, you're going to be using all these different things all the time. And before you know it, it's going to be second nature to you. And yeah, sometimes you might have to look it up, But the reverse is a way worse strategy where you're not really understanding things. Another reason why you really want to understand these topics and this kind of foundational knowledge that I'm talking about is because if you do, then switching languages becomes a lot easier. All of these topics that I'm talking about that you have to really just understand, they kind of transfer between languages. So what I'm saying is if you just memorize the syntax of a language, that won't be transferable. So the only language you'll be able to use is one of them, right? But if you just understand why and you know the deeper meaning behind all these different topics, then you'll be able to apply them to any language. And then all you'll have to do is search up some syntax and be like, okay, oh, in Python you write a for loop this way, in JavaScript you write it a different way, but you will know with the why underneath, which is the real important knowledge. So guys, I hope you found this information useful today. I know this is a shorter video, so I'll make sure to make the content longer next time. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if there's anything you agree or disagree with. Don't try to memorize things, guys. You know, really just apply your learning. Take what you've learned in a course, in a YouTube video, whatever it may be, and just apply it to whatever you're working on. That's the best way to learn and the best way to retain knowledge. If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, guys, take it easy and have a good day. Peace out.